Hey, good evening. It's really amazing to have you guys here. My name is Daniel. I was a professional opera singer and beatboxer, and tonight we're going to be listening to Disturbed's rendition of Sound of Silence. I have never heard Disturbed's music before. I don't know what their genre of music is or what their style is, but I do know this piece very well, and I really love it. Even though it's a little dark, it's very profound, very beautiful, and I'm just really excited to jump into this piece with a new artist's take on it. I love being able to see people interpret the piece differently and incorporate themselves and their styles into others' works, and I think it's really great to see different takes on pieces. So overall, I'm just really excited to jump into this piece, and I hope you guys are too. So without further ado, let's do it.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again.
Yeah.
Because a vision softly creeping left its seeds while I was sleeping. And the vision that was planted in my brain still remains within the sound of silence. In restless dreams I walked alone, narrow streets of cobblestone, neath the halo of a street lamp.
Beautiful, dude.
I turned my collar to the cold and damp.
Nice.
When my eyes were stabbed by the flash of a neon light that split the night
Chills, dude.
and touched the sound of silence. And in the naked light I saw 10,000 people, maybe more. People talking without speaking. People hearing without listening. People writing songs that voices never share. And no one dared disturb the sound of silence.
Beautifully poignant.
Fool said I, you do not know. Silence like a cancer grows. Hear my words that I might teach you. Take my arms that I might reach you. But my words, like silent raindrops, fell.
Yeah!
And echoed in the wells of silence, and the people bowed and prayed to the neon god they made. And the sign flashed out his warning.
Yeah!
And the words that it was forming. In the sign said the words on the prophets are written on the subway walls.
Yeah, dude.
In tenement halls, and whispered in the sound of silence.
Oh, chills, dude. Oh, man, dude. Just chills. When the piece started very soft, I knew that there was going to be a tremendous amount of growth throughout the piece. This piece wouldn't have 1 billion views if there wasn't growth. But that being said, I had no idea that the piece itself would just be so raw. It was so connected with the subtext of the piece. And it did such a great job reflecting what that subtext is, what the context is. And it's just gorgeous. He did such a fantastic job with it. The visuals were impeccable as well. It was so visually stimulating, but that in tandem with the emotional range and rawness that came with it, that came with that, not screaming, but that texture of screaming sound. And you just feel this coarse ruggedness in the latter half of the song, further emphasizing this connection with it. And to know that you start with something so tender and gentle, even though you're embarking on this journey into danger, into the unknown, it's really captivating. So let's just jump into the analysis of it. I'm really excited to talk about it. Just this opening shot, dude. Ugh.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again.
Just right off the bat there, you have this very, very gentle D at the end of friend. Just very, very gentle. And then when you hear the word again, at least from a classical perspective, because you're constantly trying to vocalize to the back of the theater or wherever it is that you're performing, and you're never mic'd, you want to hold on to as big and open vowels as possible, because that's the thing that projects the most. Closing things is very difficult to project to the end of a theater. But since he is mic'd in this case, and since this is also just building a very specific atmosphere because he has more of these luxuries of not performing live, of making sure that this is an audio and visual spectacle, that he's taking his liberty with closing the consonants, but it's not the end of the musical phrase. And you just hear this, I've come to talk with you again. And you just feel this N pulling you. And the N is closed, so you feel closed, but it's not the end of the musical phrase. So to me, it reflects that very tiny fragment of light completely surrounded by darkness, but at least can still see the light. You can at least still feel the ever slightest amount of warmth radiating off of its incandescent nature. So I really just love that audibly. It's really just beautiful.
Because a vision softly creeping left its scenes while I was sleeping, and the vision.
Yeah. I love this too because right now his vibrato is a little shaky. It's a little uneven and uncertain. And that could be him personally making this choice, or it could just be his natural vibrato. But regardless, it adds so much more raw depth to the subtext of the piece, and I love it so much. And especially when he begins a new cadence with hand, he adds an H before the actual word and that breath is so weighted, and you can feel this weight. It feels like you're just squelching through the mud. You're immersed. There's just so much raw weight on it, and it's so good, dude.
Sleeping, and the vision that was planted in my brain.
Yeah, and I love that too. Just planted. It feels like a plea, a cry. And when you have that kind of slide on a note, at least to me, it doesn't reflect laziness, but it reflects a loss of strength. It reflects being in an abyss and feeling immensely demoralized. it's essentially what depression, at least to me, feels like, which is this self-fueling spiral downwards to new basements where you've reached an all-time low and then the next day you've reached a new all-time low, and it's just that cycle in perpetuity. And the idea of where you stand as a light completely surrounded by darkness, unable to see other light, when the piece itself is a reflection of self-reflection. It's people are talking without speaking. People are hearing without listening. And it's actually being able to sit with yourself, recognize what position you're in, and being able to take actionable steps in improvement. And it's just a development process of yourself, your mindset, and what it is that you can do for others. And it's really beautiful.
Still remains
Yeah.
within the sound of silence.
Oh, beautiful, dude.
In restless dreams I walked alone.
Nice layering of the guitar here.
Narrow streets of cobblestone.
Yeah, the L right there. Cobble. It's a very guttural sound, and at least classically speaking, again, you would never hold on to an L like that because it resides in your throat. You can't really present it through your mask. So just the fact that he's holding on to that kind of guttural sound, it still feels very closed, very tight. Even though we grew a little bit, it still feels very clenched, and you could just feel that in your core, you know, and it's just gorgeous.
Neath the halo of a street lamp, I turn my collar to the cold and damp.
Nice musical phrase, very connected.
When my eyes were stabbed by the flash of a neon light that split the night and touched the sound
You could just feel this emotional pull
of silence.
holding on to that.
And in the naked light I saw.
Oh, I love this. I love this. Just in terms of, we have this new dynamic. This feels much more forte, or just general loud. And the beautiful thing about that is at the very end of his phrase, he still tapered it. He still decrescendoed or made progressively softer until it faded to nothing at the end of the phrase, because even though there is much more strength, there is much more power to be had, you're still surrounded by darkness. You're still tapering those phrases. There's still a certain acknowledgement of weakness, even though you're presenting a front of strength. And weakness is never a bad thing as long as you're doing something about it, as long as you're doing what you can to grow through it. Allowing yourself to reside in a darkness, allowing yourself to reside in weakness, and making excuses to allow yourself to be in that weakness, I believe, is wrong. But when you do what you can to give yourself strength within areas of life that are superficially hopeless or seem to be very just dark, and you give yourself strength but still end up faltering, it's still such a beautiful display of humanity's potential and capability, because to give yourself enough strength to muster one attempt to breach through the darkness is incredibly arduous. So to constantly keep doing it throughout the song like Disturbed does, it's so beautiful and a real testament and acknowledgement of what humanity is capable of. It's very similar, brief side tangent, but I promise it's connected. It's very similar to the idea of Jurassic Park, where you just have these dinosaurs constantly throwing themselves against the electric fence. And usually after one attempt, if you were throwing yourself against an electric fence, you'd probably give up after that first attempt. You don't want to get shocked again. You don't want to get hurt again. But you want something beyond that. You need something beyond that. And you're willing to go through painful experience after painful experience and muster up the strength to keep doing it over and over and over again until you find the weakness in the darkness, until you're able to actually penetrate it and burst through into a new realm. It might not be a realm of pureness and light, but it's definitely a realm that's better than just being in an abyss. And that, I think, is the real messaging of this, and I think it's so beautiful.
10,000 people, maybe more. People talking without speaking.
Yeah, he's just tapering the ends of those phrases, and it's so lovely because there's still so much pain within it, but there's still so much more power and strength within it too. Power and strength doesn't reflect a lack of weakness. It's how I interpret what courage is. Courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is the acknowledgement of fear and pursuing through something anyway. And it's very similar to this definition that I'm presenting here of strength, which is strength isn't the absence of weakness, it's the acknowledgement of weakness and still mustering up the strength necessary to engage with it wholeheartedly, with full acknowledgement that you are going to get hurt, that you are going to experience some level of emotional, mental, or physical suffering, and engaging with it to better yourself, or an even more righteous way to better the lives of others. And that's not you putting your own values or morals on them. It's you leading by example, doing what you can for yourself and serving as a shining light, as a lighthouse, as a beacon for other people experiencing their own level of darkness and terror. So it's really beautiful in that way.
Voices never share, and no one dare disturb the sound of silence.
Yeah, even in the strength, we're still closing the ends. And his vibrato is so much more consistent now. So in terms of my previous comment about not knowing whether his vibrato is just naturally like that, no, that was a stylistic choice at the very beginning, and I loved that. I love the fact that it's chosen, and oh, it's so good, dude.
Fool said I, you do not know. Silence like a cancer grows.
Oh,
Hear my
yeah.
words that I might teach you. Take my arms and I might reach you.
Yeah.
But my words,
He's just taking his time with that, because it could have just easily gone ba-da-da, but no, ba-da-da. Yeah, it's just taking his time, really emphasizing the stress of what it is that he's portraying through the music, and it's so good, dude.
but my words, like silent raindrops fell.
Yeah!
And echoed in the wells of silence, and the people bowed in prayer
Oh, so raw!
to the neon god they made.
Ah!
And the sign flashed out his warning,
Yeah!
and the words that it was forming. And the sign said the words on the prophets are written on the subway walls,
Ah, dude!
in tenement halls,
Ah!
and whispered in the sound.
Just the fact that, again, I commented on an L earlier, and he's just doing it on this R, which is also very guttural. Whispered. It's so in your face, it's so direct and raw, and it doesn't need to sound beautiful because that's not the point of it. The point of it is to show you directly this rawness, this discomfort, and within this rawness and discomfort, there's a light, there's a beauty, there's a purity, there's a message that incandescently radiates through and pierces through the rest of the darkness. And it's just gorgeous, dude.
Whispered in the sound of silence.
Holding that in again. Gorgeous. Just incredible, man. Disturbed, really great take on that piece, really great. Your stylistic choices, the way that you molded your musical phrasing and the words themselves in mix with your incredible vocals throughout the piece, it was just so raw and so direct. And I think that that's what that piece actually really calls for, at least personally. And it was just so good, dude. It was so good. Thank y'all so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you didn't like it, please leave a dislike and let me know why in the comments. Even if I might not heart or reply to all the comments, I do read all of them, so please know that your comments do not go unnoticed. I do deeply appreciate all of you being here. It really does mean a lot to me, and I can't wait to see all of you in the next video. Have a great rest of your evening, everyone.